Sarah, it's about time you got married. What are you talking about? Get married? Not a chance. I'm still in school. Oh, give me a break. Marrying a rich guy will bring you more money than school ever will. Mom, I'm not like you. I actually like school. Now leave me alone. That was the conversation between my mom and I about 2 months ago. Well, look at me now. Here I am staying in one of the most luxurious villas in Boston. My name's Sarah, by the way, and I'm 16 and in high school. My life hasn't ever been normal. For starters, I don't have a dad, and my mom is totally irresponsible, choosing to spend any money we have on partying and men. Of course, she doesn't even have a job, so we rely on her latest fling to help support us. My mom has never really cared about me, so I just stay out of her life as well. She can do what she wants as long as I can do what I want, and what I want is to study really hard so that I can have a better life than hers. But as usual, she intervened in that plan, and 2 months ago she forced me to quit high school and get married. Obviously, I refused, and I even went on a hunger strike for a few days. But then one day she said, "Tomorrow, our two families will meet. If you don't rock up, I'll go to your school and tell them you're not coming back. But if you come, you can still go to school, at least until the wedding." Ugh, school. She's using what I love most against me, again, to force me to follow all of her ridiculous plans. Fine, I agreed. I mean, it was just a meetup. It's not like they could pressure me to get married right away, right? So the next day, I followed my mom to go meet Adam's family. I was shocked when I saw him. He was wearing a mask that covered half of his face, and he just sat there, not uttering a word, just staring at me without even blinking. Honestly, it was so creepy. His parents seemed nice, though, and they explained that he'd been in an accident when he was a kid, which had left him with a severe burn scar on his face. So he wore the mask to avoid scaring people off. I could see him watching me, waiting for my reaction. So I tried to smile back. I felt so bad for him. But at the same time, there was no way I wanted to spend my life with this guy. So I decided to put my plan into action. All I had to do was get his parents to disagree with the arrangement. So I acted as clumsy as possible. I wanted to give the worst first impression ever. As soon as the wine was poured, I leaned over and knocked his mom's glass all over her white dress. My mom looked mortified, but I didn't stop there. I ate with my hands and dropped food all over the table and kept chewing with my mouth wide open. But no matter how hard I tried, Adam's parents still seemed to like me, and I could see him slightly smirking at me. What did a girl have to do to put this family off? Clearly they were desperate. Near the end of the meal, they started discussing the engagement. Apparently, I'd move into Adam's family house so we could get to know each other. Then, if I could help Adam to feel less insecure, they'd let me finish high school before we had to get married. So didn't that mean they just wanted a friend for Adam? Someone to keep him company? It's not that bad. I guess I can do that then. So after the engagement, I moved into Adam's mansion. After school every day, I'd hang out with him and try to cheer him up. I'd play him my fave music, show him some epic movies, even try telling him jokes. But still, he barely smiled. He wasn't interested in anything I liked. Then one day I was struggling with my science homework when he passed by and decided to check out what I was doing. Suddenly, he started chatting away, and I realized how much he loved chemistry and physics. He even offered to help me with my assignments. He was so passionate about those subjects, and this was a win-win, because I'd finally found something we could discuss. He even started opening up to me. It was a start. I began to feel more comfortable around him. On one sunny day, I even asked Adam if he wanted to play a game of badminton. At first, he refused, as he didn't like being outside, but I wouldn't stop begging until he said, "Fine. Have you played this game before?" "No." "Okay, then let me show you." I was so excited to teach Adam. Although I'm not great at hand-eye coordination, I'd been playing badminton a lot at school, so I felt pretty confident. Finally, I'd found something I was better at than him. Ha! Okay, so I spoke too soon. After a few missed serves, he somehow mastered the shuttlecock and kicked my ass. Why did you say you've never played this before? 'Cause it's the truth. I don't believe you. Adam just shrugged and then left me lying on the ground. He had to be bluffing. It's impossible for anyone to be that good the first time they do something. Ugh. But it was fun, I guess. Adam was growing on me, but I couldn't be around him 24/7 as I had classes to attend. And no cap, I was extremely happy that I still got to go to school. Plus, at school, something incredible happened. One day, I was walking through the schoolyard when I tripped over a can. Just as I was about to faceplant on the ground, a hand appeared and pulled me back up. We made eye contact, and I swear it was love at first sight. His name was Brian, and he's super handsome. From that moment on, we texted nonstop every day, and it wasn't long before he asked me to be his girlfriend. And of course I said yes. I was smitten, but I obviously had to hide it from Adam and his parents. One night, I was on the phone with Brian when suddenly a text from my mom arrived. In fact, ever since the engagement, she hadn't even been in touch. Maybe she was too busy spending the huge amount of money that Adam's parents had given her. Sarah, I really need some cash, just around $500. Can you please ask Adam if he can lend me it? What? How have you already spent the money his parents gave you? Stop asking questions. Just get me that money, okay? Ugh, money, money, money. All she cared about was money. She didn't even ask if I was okay. I want to ask. Can you get me some money? Money? For what? I need to pay for my tutoring class. I haven't had money to pay for the past few months. How much do you need? About $500. Okay, I'll tell the butler he'll give it to you later. Phew. That was easier than I thought. But Adam didn't ask twice about it. Was it because that amounts just nothing to a rich guy like him? Anyway, at least he'd said yes. That would shut my mom up for a bit. If only. A few days later, she texted me again. This time she wanted $3,000. Was she kidding me? I just ignored her. But she kept bombarding me with texts and calls. It went on for days. She wouldn't leave me alone. I didn't give in, though, until this photo was sent to my phone. It was of me and Brian holding hands and clearly in love. Turns out my mom had been so desperate for the money, she'd turned up at my school one day to talk face to face, and that's when she saw us together. She then threatened me and said that if I didn't get her the money, she'd tell Adam's family what I was up to. This terrified me, because then I'd have nowhere to go, and I wouldn't be able to go to school anymore. I couldn't let that happen. I had no other choice but to keep asking Adam for the money with my lame excuses. From buying books, to a relative who was ill and needed treatment, you name it, I'd use it. Every time I asked Adam, he looked at me like he was worried about me and asked if I was okay. This made me feel even more guilty, because it seemed like he genuinely cared about me. To make up for it, I'd bake him cookies, and even knit a cute sweater for him as a birthday gift. But then, a few weeks later, he asked if we could talk. As soon as I walked into his room, he threw a bunch of photos at me. They were all of me and Brian. I couldn't believe it. Did my mother betray me? But that's not the case. He told me how he'd had someone follow me because he felt I'd been acting weird. Not only had he discovered I was dating someone, he'd also found out that I'd been lying about the money and giving it to my mom. He was so disappointed in me. Please leave me alone. I don't want to see you anymore. I was so worried I'd be kicked out of their house, but no one mentioned anything. His parents still chatted to me at dinner, and they seemed happy enough. Only Adam avoided me, which of course made me feel terrible. The only one I had to lean on right now was my sweet Brian. So after dinner one night, I decided to go over to his place. I really needed some comfort right now. But when I arrived outside, through the window, I saw another girl in his room. They started kissing, and I thought I was going to be sick. In a panic, I quickly crawled over and hid below his window to listen in. But aren't you a bit too close with that Sarah girl lately? Don't you dare. Don't worry, Pumpkin. It was all just for you. I noticed that she lives in a big mansion with personal drivers and all. Her family must be filthy rich. So I just wanted to be a good friend and help them spend those money. You know, and maybe that way I could get you the new Chanel handbag that you always want. Oh, really, honey? So, how's it going? Well, a dud. Seems like she's the stingy kind of rich girl. Ugh, keeping every single nickel all to herself. How was I supposed to believe what I'd just heard? My heart was shattered into pieces, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I stood up and put my face against the window. "You're dumped!" Brian looked so shocked to see me there, but I didn't wait to see if he had anything to say. I just ran home in tears and locked myself in my room. "Sarah, open the door. Do you know how many days you haven't eaten for?" "Sarah, open the door. If not, I will send someone to break the door down." "Oh God, are you okay?" "What's going on?" "Nothing. I'm sorry. Sorry for lying to you all this time. I didn't mean to." Suddenly, Adam hugged me and said, "It's okay. Don't cry. Now can you just tell me what happened?" In tears, I told Adam the whole story. From being used by my mother to being betrayed by Brian. Perhaps this is what I deserve for lying to you. "Actually, if I were you, I wouldn't want to marry someone like me anyway." "You're a great guy. As long as you have confidence in yourself and live with a more positive attitude, good things will happen to you, I promise." "Even with this ugly face?" I looked up at Adam and, oh my gosh, the burn scar on his face. It was worse than I thought it would be. I reached out to touch it. It must have been so painful. Can we start over? Keep helping me, okay?" I looked at Adam, smiled and nodded. So after that day, I continued to stay at Adam's house and help him get out of the isolated, self-deprecating life he'd been living. Gradually, his attitude improved, and he even started taking a business course to get ready for taking over his family's company in the future. I also encouraged him to start taking off his mask. Love everything about yourself, including that scar. As for my mom, she's currently being detained for her illegal gambling. Yep, that's what she spent all that money on. She'll probably end up in prison, and even though this isn't what I want for her, she kinda deserves it. Oh, and about the wedding, we postponed it. Lucky for me, both Adam and his parents want me to go to college first and pursue my dreams. Once I graduate, we'll probably start planning our wedding, though, and it'll be truly out of love this time.
5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, honey, you're so good. Oh no, now I'd lost count. How long had she been standing there for? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Can you teach me some moves? I hesitated, but I didn't want to sound mean, so, sure, Carol, come in. I'll show you some of the basics. I did some simple moves for her to follow, but, oh man, she was awful. Seeing an out-of-shape, middle-aged woman attempting front lunges and high Vs isn't something you see every day. But I did appreciate that she was putting the effort into getting to know me. Oh, sorry. You must be wondering why I was calling my mom by her first name. Well, she's actually not my mom. She's my stepmom. You see, my mom passed away when I was 10. Then last year, when I turned 15, Dad started seeing someone again with help of a matchmaker. And he thought it was important for me to have a mother figure, and that's how we ended up marrying Carol. I enjoyed having bonding time with Carol, but it quickly became kinda uncomfortable. She watched me practice my cheerleading moves every night, started up conversations about the boys at my school, and she insisted on binge-watching TV series with me. Yeah, you all must know how awkward it is having an adult sitting next to you while there's some romantic kissing scene on the screen, right? Jesus, I needed my privacy. Then one time, I arrived home from school to find her in my room, going through my makeup. Donna, sweetie, how exactly do you use this? Okay, so this was a bit too much. She's crossing some lines here, messing around with my stuff without asking, but I couldn't bring myself to get mad at her either. You see, Carol is the definition of an ideal housewife. She's such a kind-hearted woman, and she always kept the house immaculate and cooked delicious meals. Maybe she spent so much time doing this that she didn't have any time to take care of her appearance? Hey, everyone deserves to feel beautiful, right? So I showed her how to apply makeup. Carol, you do so much for Dad and me, so I think it's about time you treated yourself. How about we go to the mall tomorrow? I would love to. I thought I was doing something nice for her. Little did I know, this was the start of something crazy. The next day at the mall, I took her into a clothing store where women her age shopped. I held up a nice blouse, but she shook her head. Then, to my utter dismay, she insisted we go into the Pull and Bear store next door. But Carol, that's for teenagers! But she still marched us in there. Then she pointed at an outfit and asked me if I could try it on for her. I wanted today to be about her, not me. But okay, as long as she's happy. I stepped out of the dressing room and twirled, and the store staff immediately complimented me. Then Carol suddenly turned to the staff and asked them to get the exact dress in size XL. What? Was she going to wear that too? Carol coyly stepped out from behind the curtain and asked, "So, what do you think?" I froze for a moment. I mean, look at her. She looked ridiculous, but I couldn't tell her that, so I reluctantly gave her a thumbs up. And just like that, Carol bought us both the exact same dress. But there's more. She suggested that we both wear them right now, while we were still in the mall. I spluttered out, shouldn't we save them for a special occasion? But her mind was made up. So, there we were, daughter and stepmom walking through the mall in matching dresses. I could feel all eyes were on us. We even ran into one of my friends, and she mistook Carol for my cousin. At least, that was until she saw Carol's face. That poor girl looked like she'd just seen Annabelle. Carol sure was flattered, as on the way home she beamed as she said, "To think, your friend thought I was your cousin. I should dress like you more often. It takes years off me." And I kid you not, she actually meant it. From that moment onward, she started dressing like a teenage girl. Or, to be precise, like me. Exactly like me. Apparently, I was the only one finding it weird in the house, because my dad said nothing. I needed to talk to her, or else someone at school would see me and make fun of me. So that evening, I went downstairs to see Carol sitting on the couch reading some magazine. I took a deep breath and said, Carol, can we? Oh, hi, sweetie. Look, I'm choosing a cake for your upcoming birthday party. I hope that's okay. Oh no, why is she always so sweet and kind? This made me feel so bad. She's doing so much for me, and all I do is complain. So obviously, I didn't bring up the subject of her copying my style. That's just trivial, right? Instead, I sat next to her and we talked about the birthday party. Then she showed me some pretty dresses on her phone and asked me to pick one for my party. I really like this one. Carol smiled. Oh, that looks lovely. Great choice, sweetie. Imagine how stunning we'll look in these. We? Oh no, not again. It had to be now or never to talk to her about this. Carol, I don't think we... But at that exact moment, my dad arrived back from work. What are you two still doing up so late? Before I could say anything, Carol ran over to him. Donna and I are going to wear this dress on her birthday. What do you think? Great. Anything that makes my ladies happy. I couldn't go through the humiliation of being dress buddies with Carol for one more time. On my special day, I needed to do something. I had a plan, but the timing had to be faultless. So, on the day of my party, when Carol was ironing her dress, I rushed in and told her that the delivery guy had just dropped off the wrong cake. Carol freaked out and ran downstairs immediately. Ha! It worked! Now, let's get started. And, well, 10 minutes later, as expected, we all heard a loud scream coming from upstairs. Dad and I rushed in and saw Carol sitting on the bed crying into the dress. Darling, what's wrong? She held up the dress. Look, it's ruined! There was an iron-shaped burn mark on it. Yep, you guessed it. It was all me. When Carol left the room, I turned the iron's temperature to max. My God, I really had to pinch myself trying not to laugh. But suddenly, Carol turned to me and in a serious voice said, "You need to change to another dress." What? She can't be serious, right? It's okay, Carol. You can just wear another dress. I don't mind. No, it's not okay. We've planned this. Go get the blue one that we both have. Listen, I don't think we should dress the same. It's just weird. Then my dad jumped in. There's no time to argue. The guests are already waiting downstairs. So Donna, go get changed. Ugh, unbelievable. It was so embarrassing. All my relatives were complimenting us, but I knew they were really laughing inside. My friends, on the other hand, were sniggering and telling me we looked like a budget version of the Olsen twins. I thought that day was already a nightmare, but then it got extremely annoying when she even started to copy my behavior. One evening, my boyfriend Thomas came over and we were all eating pizza in the living room. I took a bite and said, "OMG, delish!" And the next thing I knew, Carol was quoting those words of mine as she sipped on her Diet Coke. Cringy! Then later, when Thomas had to leave, I walked him to the door and I squeezed his cheeks as a cute little goodbye, since we couldn't exactly kiss or anything in front of my parents, obviously. But guess what? Just under 5 minutes later, Carol suddenly sat closer to my dad and did the exact same thing to him. It was so weird, and my dad wasn't really impressed either. But here comes the worst part. A few days later, my friend had sent me a link to Carol's TikTok account. Oh my days. It was a video of my dad, and it had thousands of likes. Then suddenly I heard noises coming from downstairs. Carol? Carol! Carol scampered out of the kitchen looking clueless. What's wrong, honey? What's wrong? My colleague just sent me a video of you playing a prank on me. Everybody has seen it. Even my boss, my customers, everyone. How am I supposed to go to work now? Ruining my career. Is that what you want? So much for being an accident. Yep. The video I was talking about was this one, where Carol baked a fruitcake for my dad and then smashed his face into it. Then, when he looked up, he had 2 strawberry slices stuck to his eyes. He kinda looked like that creepy clown from the movie It. She uploaded it on her TikTok account, and it instantly got viral. I played that prank on my friend a while ago at our slumber party, but I didn't expect that Carol would copy it. Get out of my house! My dad's shout took me aback, while Carol burst into tears and begged, "Please, honey, don't do this. I'm sorry." But my dad didn't listen and just told her to pack and stay out of his sight immediately. As she started to move, I grabbed her arm. "Carol, wait. I know that you've been copying my clothing style and my behavior, and now this TikTok. But you must have a reason for that, right?" Carol nodded, so I calmed Dad down, and we sat down with her as she sobbed out, "My first husband often made fun of my dreary appearance. He even banned me from going to his family events, as he said the way I looked was embarrassing for him. Then eventually, he couldn't stand looking at me anymore, so he handed me the divorce papers. Now I'm with your father. I worry he too will get irritated by my looks, and I'll be abandoned again. But he adores you. Therefore I thought that if I tried to be more like you, then he'd adore me too." My God, Carol's ex is such a jerk. How could anybody want to get a divorce just because their partner didn't have the best dressing sense? I hugged her tightly and said, "Nobody's going to abandon you. You're a part of this family. But how about we find you a new style of your own, instead of copying mine, okay?" Carol nodded at me with a light smile while still sniffling. My dad eventually calmed down, apologized for overreacting, and came over to join us in the hug. So, after that, I started helping Carol with the house chores so she had more time to spend on herself. I showed her how to style her hair, helped her pick out some stylish clothes, and sent her the links to some videos on makeup tips. Now she has her own chic image going on. She kinda reminds me of Martha Stewart. I always thought my stepmom was bonkers, but turns out everyone's got their own story, right? And we should get to know them first before jumping into any conclusion. Everybody should feel good about themselves, and no one should ever make them feel otherwise.
On my very first day of high school, I showed up in my extreme goth girl attire as every other day. I felt good, but unfortunately, the teacher didn't appreciate my look, as she gave me this disgusted stare and blurted out, "How peculiar." Excuse me? So how do you define normal? How come being your true self is abnormal, but it's totally fine to live a fake, boring life just to fit into this judgmental society? The whole class gasped and stared at me. As for the teacher, I'd rendered her speechless. I guess word got around, as at recess this red-haired goth boy smiled at me, then said, "Hey, it's Miranda, right? Do you want to join my group?" Well, no need to ask twice. This guy was cute. And everyone in this group was goth too. This was where I belonged. They share my views on how the media's unattainable standards of beauty are fake, and how pathetic everyone is for striving to look like mass-produced dolls. Ugh. I like them. Actually, I didn't have many friends. You see, as soon as I discovered my true identity at 13 and started dressing this way, my old friends ditched me. People are always so quick to judge and don't gel well with others that are different. It's so lame. But whatever. Those bland blenders could never understand my effort to stand out and be true to myself. The only girl who stuck around was Isabel. She's been my best friend since we were 6. And my black lipstick and chokers didn't scare her off. My parents just thought I was going through a rebellious phase, so they let me do what I wanted. Only my older sister Harper was bitter about it. Oh, please! Biologically and technically, you are not a goth. You're an American who likes the gothic style. Huh, jealous much? You see, Harper was your standard girl next door type. Just like everybody else. Yawn. Whatever. As it's her business. I don't care. But please don't force me to be like her. Ugh! Okay, back to school things. From that day onward, I joined the goths. They were all very cool. Especially the red-haired guy, Ralph. The more time I spent with him, the more I knew we were made for each other. So one time, I confided in Isabel about my feelings for him and told her I was planning to ask him to be my boyfriend. Are you sure? It's just you haven't known him long and you don't know how he feels about you. Oh, bless. Isabel was being her usual sweet, caring, worried self. But come on, this was a sure bet. It's okay, Izzy. I'm the coolest one, not only in my group, but also in this school. There's no way he can turn me down. No. Ralph's answer cut right through me without any hesitation. I haven't even finished my love confession. Ouch. Seeing me dead still and mouth wide open, Ralph continued, "Look, Miranda, your style is so cool, and I know you're one of us, but honestly, whenever I talk to you, I think it's just so tasteless. Besides, I'm already dating Aaron, so we should just be friends." Tasteless? What did he mean, tasteless? And OMG, Aaron? Unbelievable. Her goth makeup and outfits were no way near as good as mine. What did she have that I didn't? Furious, I stomped home, rushed to my room, and screamed into my pillow. On hearing this, Harper hurried in and asked me what was up. I needed to talk to someone, so I blurted it all out to her. Wow, she raised her eyebrows. Rude. Still, she paused, scratching her chin. Uh-oh. I know she always does that thing whenever she's about to say something mean. You know, that Ralph guy does have a point. I mean, instead of spending 3 hours a day applying endless layers of makeup, you could use that time to learn how to be less boring. She shrugged. What? Shut up! Get out of my room! I furiously pushed her out and slammed the door. But, come to think of it, what if the other kids stopped being friends with me, and not because of my look, but due to my tastelessness? Nah, that can't be the case. Pfft, Harper was just being her usual ridiculous self. So I stayed loyal to myself throughout high school and continued to live life my way. No one can make me change my mind, ever. Yeah, I know senior year is important, which is why I made a conscious effort to attend the college enrollment fair. After a while of wandering around, I found myself drawn to the social science section of one university. This was it. This is what I wanted to major in. This was so exciting. I'd finally found something else amazing besides the goth lifestyle. That night I asked Harper to take a photo of me to send with my application file. She gave me this dirty look and replied, "You really think they'd want to interview a student looking like they belong in Dracula's castle?" No, she did not just say that. How disrespectful. Why do people care so much about appearances? You pick someone due to their caliber, not the surface. Well, if looks are not so important, why don't you just quit being angry, get changed, and just take a simple photo? Harper raised her voice. Ugh, arguing with her was pointless. So I ran back to my room and locked myself in there for 2 whole days. Ugh, I hated this world. I had a lot of thinking time, which made me realize I do really want to major in social science. So I decided to listen to Harper, remove my makeup, fix my hair, and borrow her clothes for the picture. Oh my God! No, I can't even look in the mirror. I looked horrible. But Harper thought otherwise. I told her to just take the dumb photo. But she ran off and dragged along my parents, who cooed and clapped on seeing my new look. You look so beautiful, honey. My mom held her chest. Were those tears in her eyes? Oh, man, this was so lame. This wasn't me. I'm not some insignificant, boring-looking girl. Ugh! As soon as Harper took the photo, I darted toward the door, desperate to return to my goth look. Please, Miranda. My parents both grabbed my arms. You look so much better this way. But this isn't me. If I don't stay goth, then I'll be losing myself. I shook them off. A few weeks later, I got a reply from the university. I had got through to the online interview stage. Whoa! But this time, I wouldn't change myself. During the interview, one professor asked me about my social experiences, such as part-time jobs or social volunteer services. I hadn't done any. I'd thought of that once in a while, but due to my goth look, I didn't get to work anywhere. I admitted that to the professor and proudly announced, being goth is my true identity. A few weeks later, I received their response email. Harper, Isabel, and my parents gathered around me in the living room, but, oh no, I muttered out once I opened the email. They rejected me. I stood up and tearfully ran back to my room, while Isabel followed me. Don't worry. Isabel sat down next to me and rubbed my arm. They have another enrollment in the autumn, so you still have a few more months to prepare. I don't need it anymore, just leave me alone. I must have freaked her out, as she quietly left after that. The next day, I was so bummed out, so I went to see my goth friends. Surely my own kind would make me feel better, right? People are ridiculous, but no one can stop us from being ourselves, Ralph heroically said. Well, I didn't feel any better, but at least there was someone on the same page with me. Still in a frustrated mood, I later on skipped dinner and went straight to my room. Harper then entered my room and talked to me in a serious tone. Stop sulking. I've seen that email and your profile. Here's the ugly truth. They didn't reject you because you're a goth. They rejected you because you're just a bland person with below average grades and no social experience whatsoever. I threw my pillow at her, demanded she leave my room right now and never come back. But that night I couldn't sleep. Her words were bugging me. I don't know, maybe she was kind of right. I mean, I guess I could do more to help my case, as I knew I really, really wanted to study that major at that university. So the next day I started looking for a part-time job. But everywhere required this gross uniform and decent look. Jeez, come on, I just can't. I felt so terrible being something that I'm not. I was about to give up when Isabel came to me and said, Be strong. Think about your dream college and your future. She patted my back. This is just temporary, okay? What a sweet friend she is. All right, gotta get back on my feet. I patiently kept looking, and finally, a cafe accepted me as a waitress. Of course, no goth look though. Ugh. One evening after work, I was about to go home when I ran into the goth group. Hey guys! I cheerfully greeted them. What's the event tonight? Noticing their confused look, I said, It's me, Miranda. They burst out laughing. Seriously? Miranda, is it really you? Then some of them pulled out their phones and started taking pictures. My Instagram is gonna love this. While the others kept ridiculing me, this was heartbroken. I thought they were my people. Why didn't they give me even a second to explain? Now it turns out they were the most judgmental people ever. What a toxic group of friends. I wasn't going to waste my time hanging out with them anymore. Lesson learned. Over the next few months, I focused on working at the cafe. and I joined a group of active young people, handing out food for homeless people and helping nurses at old people homes. I'd experienced so many new things, and to be honest, I got used to this mediocre look. Actually, there's this one guy in my volunteer group. He's called Roger, and I may have a slight crush on him. At first, I didn't even notice him because he looks normal. Basic haircut, t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers. Until one time, in the nursing home, I was struggling with this very bitter and difficult old lady who was accusing me of stealing her slippers. Then Roger, with his gentle nature and soothing voice, slid in and diffused the situation. On top of that, he was an amazing storyteller, as he always mesmerized everyone around, including me. Okay, so looking normal didn't mean someone was boring. Yeah, I know the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, it turns out that saying is 100% true. In early October, Harper helped me apply again, and guess what? I successfully passed the online interview and received an offer email. My family was in seventh heaven. My parents couldn't stop the happy tears, while Harper just proudly smiled at me, and Isabel hugged me tightly. We even went on vacation to celebrate. It was terrific. Now, I still love my gothic look, but at the same time, I love my natural look too. I've realized that identifying yourself by how you look on the surface is nonsense, and so is judging people by the way they look. Having an interesting life and being beautiful is not just about obsessively focusing on how you appear. It comes from within. Wait, is that Roger over there? Oh no, he's coming this way. He's waving at me. Perhaps this is my chance. I was on my way to Julia's house for a study sesh when out of nowhere, I found myself flying onto the ground. I was so stunned, I didn't even see the ball that had hit me, or the fact there was a cute guy rushing over to check if I was okay. He helped me up and apologized. Then he pulled a Band-Aid out of his bag. Oh my, who is he? I'd scraped my hand pretty badly, but I almost didn't mind because now I was face to face with a gorgeous guy. In fact, I was so busy staring at him and blushing that I didn't even notice Julia marching towards us. What are you two doing? Turns out the cute guy was Callum, Julia's boyfriend. Ugh, Julia. Of course. Every nice thing is always hers. I'm Jenny, by the way, and that lucky girl is Julia. She's the daughter of the richest guy in town, Mr. Walsh. We're supposed to be friends, but we honestly have nothing in common. I mean, my family is pretty poor. It's not our fault, though. My dad sadly passed away, and so it's just me and my mom trying to make ends meet. Julia, on the other hand, has a silver spoon shoved down her throat. But fate still brought us together. I know it's kind of wrong, but that night I couldn't stop thinking about Callum. He now, in fact, gave me motivation for the next study session with bossy Julia, as maybe he would be there again. I even put on makeup and skipping on the way to her house the next day. But, well, it was all for nothing, because Callum was nowhere to be seen. Instead, I had to sit and listen to Julia go on and on about her trip to Paris. I pretended that I was okay, but actually, I always dreamed of visiting the city of light and gazing up at the Eiffel Tower ever since watching Emily in Paris. Dream on, Jenny. Anyway, Julia was incessant. She loved making me look like a fool, and even said, "Aw, poor Jenny. Maybe one day you'll get to go to Paris. But until then, you can just look at all my photos." Honestly, why was she so cruel to me? Last year around my birthday, she'd even shown me a fashion magazine and asked me which dress I liked best. I thought she was buying gifts for me, but instead, she showed up at my party in the exact dress I pointed out. I couldn't believe it. She just winked at me and laughed, and I seriously wanted to scream at her. Anyway, after looking at about 1 billion Paris pics, Mr. Walsh appeared. He looked happy to see us sitting so close and studying together. If only he knew the truth. But I had to pretend I had a lot of fun with Julia and helping her study, at least for his sake. Mr. Walsh was a good friend of our family, and ever since my dad passed away, he'd been looking out for me, and was even paying my school fees. I couldn't let him down. But you know what? I actually started to get excited to go over to Julia's now, as the thought of bumping into Callum again gave me butterflies. I even got myself a new hairstyle, but he was never there, and I always left feeling disappointed. Then one time, after school, it started to rain dogs and cats, and I had to run for it. Then suddenly I felt an umbrella over my head. Guess what? It was Callum coming to the rescue. It was like something out of a romantic movie. He even offered me a lift home. My heart was racing so hard I was afraid he'd hear it. I just sat there in silence, dripping rain all over his clean car. I even caught him looking over at me a few times, and my heart felt like it was going to leap out of my chest. He pulled up at my house, so I was about to get out when he touched my arm and said, "Can I get your number?" I was confused. I mean, wasn't he Julia's boyfriend? He then explained that he was just hired to be her fake boyfriend so that all the flirty boys would get out of her way. Wow, I couldn't believe it. He asked me to keep it a secret, as Julia would end us both if this story got out. Okay, it all made sense now. That's why he never came over to her house. I felt so happy. Over the next few days, Callum and I chatted a lot on the phone, and then eventually he asked me out on a date. We went to the fun fair, and right away he held my hand. It made me feel so special, and I never wanted him to let go. We were having so much fun. Then a familiar voice pierced the air. "Well, well, well. Isn't that my dear friend, Jenny?" I felt dread rush through my whole body. We turned around, and there was Julia and her girl gang all standing there with their arms crossed. Callum dropped my hand and rushed to Julia's side. "It was all her, babe. You gotta see the messages she sent. She's been flirting with me for weeks. It's pathetic." Whoa, was he for real? A second ago he was about to lean in for a kiss, and now he was bad-mouthing me? How could he be so two-faced? I tried to explain to Julia, but she wouldn't listen. She just called me a traitor in front of everyone, and told all her friends to lock up their boyfriends in case I try it on with one of theirs next. I was devastated. Everyone was staring at me and judging me. Ugh, if only I could vanish into thin air right now. And as I was thinking about where I could escape to, a guy appeared, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me away. It was Stefan, the guy who lived across the road from me. I didn't understand why he helped me, but I was so grateful that he did. He walked me home and tried to cheer me up by saying how his mom used to love our bakery so much, and that the carrot cake my mom made was his mom's fave. This made me smile, thinking back on all those happy times in our family bakery. When my dad had died, we'd had to sell it to pay off some debt, and life had become quite difficult. Luckily, Mr. Walsh was helping out, but after what just happened with Julia, I wasn't sure I'd be able to face him. The next day at school, everyone was staring at me. I couldn't even find a place to sit at lunch. What had I done? I'd ruined everything. And then it got worse. My phone beeped. It was Mr. Walsh. He said he was so disappointed in me and that I no longer needed to come and tutor his daughter. I wanted to cry, and at the same time I felt so much relief. But then I read on and he said, "I'm sorry, but I can't keep my promise anymore. I'll continue to subsidize your school fees, but you'll have to figure something out for college. Good luck." My heart plummeted. Not only had I been shunned by everyone at school and backstabbed by Callum, but now the door to college was being slammed in my face too. What would I do? My life was over. I felt so sick. I just walked out of the canteen and went home. I didn't dare go to school over the next few days. I was miserable. And just when I'd given up all hope, there was a knock at my door. It was Callum. What was he doing here? He said he was sorry for what had happened and that he missed me so much. Then he asked me if I'd be interested in being his secret girlfriend. What in the world? I was so angry, I wanted to slam the door in his face. But he was fast enough to catch my hand, which took me aback. At that exact moment, Stefan happened to walk past. Seeing me standing there with Callum, his face changed and he immediately walked away. Oh, no. I definitely couldn't let him misunderstand anything about me anymore. He's the only friend I had left. I yanked my arm away from Callum and chased after Stefan. I finally caught up with him and blurted out how I'd been feeling like the whole world was against me and that I didn't know what to do. He told me to calm down, then we went to sit on a bench in the park, as he let me confide everything in him. By the time I finished talking, I was on the verge of tears. Then he said, "Listen, Jenny, you're better than this. Don't dim to fit in with those people at your school. Good people will see you for the real you. You're strong, and you can get through anything. I know you can." He was right. I was better than this. I didn't need to sink as low as Julia and her friends, and I certainly didn't need to rely on Mr. Walsh's money. I'd figure this out by myself, like I always did. So I applied for a part-time job at a coffee shop. Earning my own money felt so good. Suddenly I felt free, and I knew everything was going to be okay. But then one day when I was working, Julia and her gang came in. They still weren't over what happened, and in front of everyone, they brought up what I'd done to humiliate me, and they even recorded it, and I couldn't stop shaking. This was too much. That's when I threw a cup of coffee all over Julia and ran out of there. Julia shouted after me that she was going to tell my mom everything I'd done. Without a doubt, Julia really did it. She even sent my mom photos of me and Callum at the fair. And well, my mom didn't take it well. I rushed home to try and explain after Mom yelled at me over the phone. But then I couldn't find Mom anywhere. I called her phone and a man answered. He said my mom was in a hospital after she fainted? Oh dear good God! I got to the hospital immediately and found out that she had collapsed from shock, but thankfully she was okay. She had to stay in the rest of the day to be monitored, so I went to get us both a cup of coffee. That's when I saw him. Callum. He was in the ward next door sitting with some girl. I almost dropped the coffee out of shock. They looked close. I waited until he'd left, and then I went to ask the girl if Callum was her boyfriend. Well, turns out they'd been dating for 2 years already. So he was triple cheating? The girl deserved to know the truth, so I took a deep breath and told her everything. She was so upset. We decided to get our own back. So the girl called Callum and asked him to come back. As soon as he arrived, we confronted him and got the truth once and for all. He was never Julia's real boyfriend. In fact, here's the shocking part. He was hired by Julia to pretend to date me and ruin my life. Apparently, she was jealous of how much attention her dad gave me since my dad had died, and that her dad constantly compared her to me. He kept apologizing to his girlfriend, saying how much he loved her, and that he only agreed to help Julia so that he could earn some money to help pay for her medical bills. I was stunned. Callum was so apologetic and said he'd come clean about everything. He posted it on the school forum to clear my name, and to everyone to see the ugly truth about Julia. And of course, when Mr. Walsh saw it, he made her come and apologize to me. And he also apologized himself and offered to pay my college fees again. Do you think I accepted his offer? Of course not. I was standing on my own feet now, and there was no going back. I didn't need anyone's help. So you might be wondering how I could afford college. Surely not on my coffee shop salary, right? Well, after graduating high school, I realized how much I missed the bakery. That was where I truly felt happy. So I decided to study to become a pastry chef, and now my mom and I have opened a new bakery. I've never been happier. And there's one last thing I want to share. Oh, in fact, here he is. Hey, Stefan, I've made your mom's fave. Let's go surprise her. I couldn't stop smiling as Stefan took the carrot cake, kissed my cheek, and we headed for his car. Life is so much more simple now, and sweet, and I love it.
It was such a beautiful weekend, but instead of being out having fun, I was stuck at home. For what, you ask? To teach Excel to a girl who doesn't even know how to use Shift-key shortcuts. What is the matter with you? I've explained the code 20 times to you already. I'm sorry. Let's face it, you suck at this. Try to beat me in your dream. If I had to waste one more second sitting next to her, I'd go crazy. Look how fake you are. If you're mad, then just show me. Why do you always have to be Miss-Friendly? Let me introduce you. That's Laura, my so-called sister. 2 months ago, my mom brought her home and announced, "Jeff, I have something to tell you. Back when we broke up for a while, due to your parents' hatred towards me, well, during that time, I found out I was pregnant. I gave birth to our little girl, Laura. I was only 22 and I had no money, so as much as it pained me to do so, I gave her away. I've never stopped thinking about her, and now, well, I've managed to find her." She dabbed at her teary eyes, then handed Dad the DNA test results. Dad was overwhelmed and ran over to hug Laura. They all cried a lot and hugged a lot. As for me, I just stood there in shocked silence as I watched this family reunion take place. It all happened so fast. How was I supposed to believe that it was just a coincidence when Mom suddenly found her long-lost child after so many years? What now, Skylar? Stop being so headstrong. Mom scolded me, then rushed over to Laura and started cuddling her and soothingly stroking her hair. It's not my fault she has the learning capacity of a slug. Stop interfering, else I'll quit teaching her. By the way, those loving mother-daughter things also? Cut it off! It's ridiculous! I know what you're thinking. What's with the attitude towards my mom? The thing is, she's not even my real mom. A few months ago, something crazy happened to me. A strange woman showed up out of nowhere and claimed she was my mom. Say what now? Of course, I told her she'd got the wrong person. But when I saw the selling contract between my mom and her, I froze in shock. Turns out, my mom miscarried a child, but she was too afraid she'd lose her place in the family, so she bought me from this woman. So, I was adopted. It's common, right? But still, I don't deserve to be treated like that. I had always been neglected since I was little. Mom never hugged or kissed me. She didn't read me bedtime stories or tuck me into bed at night. All she ever did was snarl at me. Go away! I guess I convinced myself that this was just how Mom was. But then Laura arrived, and Mom is totally different with her. I get it now. I get why she treated me so cold and why I've never felt happy despite growing up in a wealthy family. Because I'd never belonged here. After the incident with the woman, I confronted Mom about it. I get it. I know I'm not your real daughter, and that's why you think it's acceptable to treat me like garbage? Oh, please, stop with the dramatics. Let me tell you this. Even if you did adopt me, I'm still gonna prove my efficiency to Dad and take over this company by myself. Mom was dumbfounded after hearing that. Then, not long after that, she turned up with Laura. That's why I didn't believe there was no coincidence. She brought Laura back to compete with me. And if that was true then, what do I have to be scared of? How are my two girls? Skylar, are you still helping Laura with her studies? Yeah, Dad. She still helps me every day. Thank you so much. Okay, that's great. When you move past the basics, I think you should take a few more extra courses. Do your best and try to follow your sister. There's no way she can be as good as me, not even in her wildest dream. Laura is very smart, and she'll soon be up to speed. I'm also teaching her more about our family business. Huh? Is Mom going to teach her more to compete with me? I can obviously see her greed and competitiveness. But whatever. Laura and I are at two distinctly different levels anyway. I am an excellent student at the Columbia Business School, while she's just an uneducated nobody. Poof! Please! I have absolutely nothing to worry about. Mom kept forcing her to study, but... See? Speaking of Mom, she'd been acting weird lately. One minute she treats me like a stubborn stain she can't get rid of, then the next she's trying to set me up with some guy named Dean. He's the son of her super rich colleague. I don't understand why she suddenly feels the need to find me a boyfriend. And Dad wasn't helping the situation, as instead of telling Mom to stop playing matchmaker, he was encouraging her. Ugh. Okay, I just wanted them to quit bugging me, so in the end, I agreed to talk to this Dean guy. But now, he won't stop messaging me, and he's even shown up at the house. I suppose he is kinda handsome and nice, but he's not my type. So I just talked to him out of politeness. Until one time, I saw Laura sneaking a peek at Dean while he was waiting for me in the lobby. Wait. Don't tell me she likes Dean? Oh well, she's welcome to my leftovers. I don't like this guy anyway. Then one day, I was walking along the corridor when I received a text from Dean. Skylar, are you free tomorrow? Let's have dinner together. I was about to text back when I suddenly heard Mom and Laura arguing. What's wrong with you, Laura? Why are you secretly dating that jerk? Why not, Dean? He's a good guy. Besides, He told me that there's nothing going on between him and Skylar. So Dean is two-timing us? He snuck out on a date with Laura while flirting with me on the phone all day? What on earth? I tried to keep calm while continuing to listen. You're crazy. Stop this stupid secret dating game at once. What? Why is Mom insisting he's a good guy to me, but telling Laura the opposite? Well, Mom, which one is it? Is Dean a good match like you told me, or a jerk like you told Laura? He's rich, so keep on dating him and stop bothering me with your nonsense. Ugh, I wasn't born yesterday. There's definitely something wrong with this Dean. The very next day, I decided to go and follow Dean. Oh my gosh! What was he wearing? And why did he go to this slum? Then he gathered with a few other thugs. So, it's obvious, Dean definitely was a street guy. That's why Mom didn't let Laura get close to him. But why did she match him with me? Could that be a part of her plan to bring me down? Ha! Nice try! I'd had enough spying for one day, so I was about to leave. But then suddenly, I heard a familiar voice which startled me. I turned around, then... What? It's... Mom? How dare you ruin the plan? Mind your words. I did as you said. I told you to flirt with Skylar to distract her, not Laura. Don't think I'm paying you a nickel more. Fine, don't pay me. Just be sure to take me a picture of your husband's face when the real DNA result arrives in his inbox. You... Oh my God. Did I just hear it wrong? What DNA results? Could it be? I immediately went home and rushed into my dad's office to look for the DNA certificate that my mom gave him that day. Here it was. What should I do now? That's right. I had to take it to the hospital to have it checked. After pleading and putting pressure on the doctor, he finally admitted that he'd accepted a bribe from Dean to fake the test result. I asked for the original one and, believe it or not, Laura was not my dad's child. I immediately rushed home and showed my dad the original DNA results. He was so shocked, I had to help him sit down, then get him a glass of water. When he got over the initial shock, he asked me to call Laura and Mum in to confront them. But, oh no, Laura's room was empty. Only one letter was lying on the bed. Sorry, everyone. Dean told me the truth. Thank you all for taking care of me. Especially you, Skylar. I honestly enjoyed being around you. I think you're kind and patient. Please don't ever change. I don't belong in your world, so I can't stay. If we're predestined, we will meet again. Thank you, and sorry again. Love, Laura. Unbelievable! How could you lie to all of us about something like this? Knowing she couldn't wriggle out of this one, Mum replied, Okay, Laura isn't yours. I fell pregnant with her after we broke up. I didn't want you to throw me out, so I paid Dean to get a fake DNA certificate. Then I paid him again to date Skylar and distract her from her studies. This business should be Laura's, not hers. But that jerk went and fell for Laura instead. Poor Dad. He looked so heartbroken. Mom tried pleading with him to forgive her, but he told her the trust was broken and that she had to leave. Everything's such a mess. Poor Dad shut himself away in his office, while me, I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. I couldn't stop thinking about all of Mom's lies. And what for? Money? Fame? Status? Are all those things worth sacrificing dignity, honor, and trust for? I used to want to compete with Laura too, but now it turns out that all of that was just fleeting. Dad, I think I should leave too, because I'm not your biological daughter either. I've known for a while, but I've kept quiet as I was afraid that you would abandon me. Thank you for always being there for me. You're a good man, and you don't deserve all the pain you've been through. Then I told my dad all about how I found out I was adopted and how my mom paid my real mom to hand me over. Dad froze for a few seconds, then calmly said, "Skylar, honey, you'll always be my daughter, and I couldn't be prouder of you. Please, stay here with me." I couldn't hold back my tears. Did Dad really want me around? Even after all this crazy stuff? I really love my dad, but I couldn't upset him anymore. The next day, Dad and I went around to Laura's adoptive mom's house. I cleared the air with her and invited her to come back with us. She politely declined. Turns out she just wants a simple life. We still meet up sometimes, and we've actually become pretty good friends. Isn't it amazing? Because before that, we were like water and fire. The fact that I don't have to teach her Excel anymore probably helps. There are those who do whatever they can to win fame and fortune, but this often comes at a cost. Mom let greed turn her into a monster, and now she's paying for it. I don't like what she did, but she's still my mom. Well, my adoptive mom anyway. So I still send her subsidies and wish her happiness for the rest of her life. The truth is that I'd rather forego a huge fortune and live a quiet life than become someone I don't want to be. If it were you, would you do the same to live in peace? Why haven't the results of the sketch contest been published yet? Hey guys, the results are over here. Frantically, I ran to the results board. Julie Morris, the first place on the list. Phew! Congrats, Julie. You deserve it. You're both pretty and talented. Is there anything you can't do? Oh, how I adore receiving high praises from everyone like that. But what's that sound? I turned around and it was just Kate. Normally she'd win for sure, but let's check out her rank. Oh, here at the bottom. It was all because of the school logo in ink on the body of the pencil she used that day. Kate's hands got sweaty easily, so when drawing, the ink stained her hand and she accidentally smeared it all over her paper. Poor you, Kate. But you know what? I'm just simply better than you. Now, all that was left between me and one of the 3 golden tickets to a design summer camp in Italy was one last contest. There's one problem. This new girl called Ariana. Unfortunately, just so happens to be a talented designer. Julie, are you okay? Miss, Julie fainted. A boy shouted loudly and frantically took me to the first aid room. Yeah, so now here I am. But hey, don't worry, actually. I'm not ill at all. I was just pretending so I could skip PE class to carry out my plan. As I walked into class, I saw everyone buzzing around Ariana's desk. I asked my friend what happened, and she said someone had spilled coffee all over her drawing. Ariana was all panicking and kept checking her watch. She'd still have to redraw it, but time was running out. Suddenly, a voice said, "Hey, someone dropped a necklace here. Maybe that's who did all this?" Subconsciously, I touched my neck, and uh-oh, it wasn't there. Then there was a hand on my shoulder that startled me to turn around. It was Rebecca. If I'm not mistaken, this is yours, right? She glared at me. That's my necklace. But so how did it end up under Ariana's desk? At that moment, I was so shaken that I couldn't say a word. Luckily for me, Ariana piped in. I think it's just a coincidence. Julie would never do something like this. Everyone agreed with her, saying that a sweet girl like me would never do such a mean thing. It's okay. Rebecca was just confused. That's all. No worries. Ugh, how dare Rebecca accuse me? It's crazy to think we used to be besties. You see, I've known her since childhood, as our parents are friends. But then she grew up and turned into this awful know-it-all. But hey, I needed to put it aside. I had to focus on my own design. Just because I'd sabotaged Ariana's design didn't mean I could let my guard down. It was an anxious wait to find out if I'd made the summer camp list. Though I shouldn't have to be that stressed, as of course, I was in. Turns out, Even though Ariana had to redraw in a rush, she still got one slot too. But the last slot went to Rebecca? Huh? I didn't know she was also into fashion design. Anyway, whatever, Rebecca. She was never my match. So, ta-da! Finally, I'm here in Milan, the fashion capital of the world. And guess what? During the summer camp, there will be various competitions, and the best will win a scholarship to the Polytechnic University of Milan. Unbelievable! I've been dreaming about this for a long time. No one was going to stand in my way. The camp was amazing. I enjoyed visiting museums and studying courses in fashion history, choosing clothing material, and cutting techniques. Then, our first test was announced, completing basic sewing skills in the fastest time. Easy peasy! I've even taken some classes on tailoring before, so of course it didn't bother me. Seeing everyone struggling to complete their products, I smiled and confidently pressed the end time button. However, at the same time, someone else hit their button too. Rebecca. Of course, the judges loved my work, but watching them praise Rebecca's work sucked. Ugh! How can someone who has never taken a sewing class be so good? The 2 weeks of summer camp flew by, but then the last challenge arrived, which would decide the winner. Each candidate got a large piece of cloth, and this is all we would be given, which meant no room for mistakes. Everyone was trying to focus and design with maximum intensity. I glanced at Rebecca, who seemed to almost be finished with the dress. And to be honest, her white dress looked quite simple but elegant. Suddenly, it got me anxious. Ugh! Since when did she become such a pain in the neck? We had a little break at noon, so everyone went out for lunch. Meanwhile, I stayed back a little longer trying to finish the test. I just didn't feel like eating, knowing that my dress was not perfect yet. But only, I wasn't able to concentrate on my design. I kept staring at Rebecca's mannequin instead. Should I do this or not? If anyone finds out, then everything will be over. But if I lose, then my dreams will be shattered anyway. Something inside of me kept urging me to go straight to Rebecca's work and immediately splash ink on that white dress. My heart thudded with a mixture of excitement and guilt. Then I quickly fled the scene. When everyone returned to the room and saw Rebecca's dress, they gasped in shock. Huh? Why was Rebecca the only one not panicking? She calmly took a brush, dipped it in the inkwell, and walked towards the dress. Then she started splashing ink over it. What was she playing at? My question was immediately answered when a very unique ink-patterned dress appeared in front of my eyes. Worse still, the judges' faces lit up when they saw it, and they highly appreciated her problem-solving skills. Congrats, Rebecca. You did a good job. Nah, thanks to you, Julie. Let's see who wins. Rebecca sneered and walked away. What did she mean by that? Did she know that I was the one who did it? I was so worried that I tossed and turned all night. Hey, Julie, wake up. You can't be late for the last challenge. Oh, hi, Ariana. What are you saying? Uh-oh. Hang on. How come it was still the 23rd of July? Had I dreamt it all? But it was so strange. Things actually happened exactly like that dream. The ink incident with Rebecca's dress, and her quick thinking to rescue it. Anyways, keep calm. I couldn't let this scholarship slide. I couldn't be that girl that lost out on my dream to someone else. The shame would be unbearable. After finishing the design, each of us would have a model to present it. At that point, I made a crazy decision. Right before the performance, I quickly followed Rebecca's model to the restroom, locked the door from the outside, then put the out of service sign in front of it. When all the contestants settled down to watch the show, Rebecca still didn't turn up. Well, maybe she was still busy looking for a substitute model. Give up yet, Rebecca? I was laughing to myself when my thoughts of victory were interrupted by applause and whistles. Huh? On the catwalk, is that Rebecca? Wearing her own design? Ariana whispered into my ear. Rebecca is stunning. She totally deserves this scholarship, right, Julie? What? How could Rebecca surpass me again? Hey, Julie, wake up. You can't be late for the last challenge. What? It's still the 23rd of July? Hang on. This meant Rebecca hadn't won yet, and I still had a chance. This time, I decided not to mess up Rebecca's dress. Instead, I looked up online some ideas to improve my own design, and I discovered a wonderful design on a fashion blog, which was quite similar to what Rebecca was doing. Ha! Turned out Little Miss Perfect was just an idea thief. So I decided to design the exact same dress, and 1 hour right before the show, it was time to pull the trigger. I reported to the judge that Rebecca stole my idea and claimed myself to be the owner of that blog. But instead of any sign of panic, a smirk lit up on Rebecca's face as she turned to me and said, "Game over, Julie." Then she went straight to the judge. I didn't know what she told them, but they disqualified me right after. Excuse me? I couldn't breathe or think or anything. I pointed at Rebecca and yelled, "She's the thief! There's something wrong here!" Then Rebecca calmly approached me. "Nice try, Julie, but your dirty tricks won't fool me. I know it was you that ruined Kate and Ariana's projects. And guess who is the real owner of that blog? Yep, me." I stared at her in shock as she continued to talk about the real reason why she stopped being friends with me. She said it was all because of my jealousy, which had turned me into such a mean girl. "Julie, you're beautiful and talented. You need to believe in your own abilities instead of sabotaging other people's work. Don't be that type of person." I woke up sweating. I reached for the phone and it was still the 23rd of July. Ugh! Would this day please be over already? But maybe this was good, as this meant I had a chance to put things right. Lunchtime arrived, and I lingered behind and looked at Rebecca's perfect dress. I hovered my hand over the ink bottle, but then I left it where it was. Sighed, then walked back over to my own dress. So, what happened? Well, Rebecca still won, but you know what? It's okay. I tried my best, I didn't cheat, and, well, Rebecca's dress was a worthy winner. After the competition, I saw some of the other girls congratulating Rebecca, so I walked over and tapped her on the shoulder, and giving her a sincere smile said, "I just wanted to say congrats. Your design's amazing." "Thanks, Julie. I really love your dress too. Your stitching was so precise." Okay, so I didn't win, but I did learn a valuable lesson. I should always give 100% in what I do, instead of wasting so much time and energy trying to ruin things for other people. Oh, and about that time loop, I put it down to competition stress. I think it must have made me feel like I was stuck in a dream world until I learned the error of my ways. Finally, I've found inner peace, and I'm finally out of that dream. I have to admit, I did whoop when I woke up, and it was finally the 24th of July. I waited till my mom went out for groceries, then snuck into her room. "I'm just borrowing. I'll pay you back soon." I know what it looks like. Trust me, I don't want to steal from my mom. But if I don't do this, then I could lose my boyfriend and my friends. Then I'll be lonely and sad and easy prey for mean kids to tease. Ugh. I rushed to the park to meet Florian, my boyfriend. That's him over there. I walked over to him and handed him the money. "You promise you'll pay it back soon?" "Sure, babe. You know you can trust me." I went home and convinced myself that I'd have the money back before Mom even noticed. But the next day at school, I couldn't find Florian anywhere. At break time, I asked my friend if she'd seen him, and she told me the shocking truth. Florian had been sent to reformatory camp. Oh my God! Did he really just scam me? Feeling my eyes tear up, I rushed to a corner in the school garden. Okay, so I don't actually have feelings for Florian. I dated him and hung around with the rebel kids because I wanted to build a cool image. The truth is, I'm just a poor girl. If people find this out, then my life would be over, right? They'd isolate me and tease me. Hey, Shannon, are you okay? Oh no, that's my friend Rachel. I can't have her see me like this. Hey, what's happened? She sounded so sincere, and I had to admit it. It would kind of be nice being able to confide in someone. So I blurted out how my dad passed away last year, and now Mom struggles to pay the bills, and she works all hours in a factory, and how Florian tricked me into giving him money from Mom's savings. To my surprise, Rachel put her arm around me and, smiling sweetly, said, "It's okay, Shannon. I can lend you the money. You can pay me back whenever." My eyes lit up and I spluttered out, "Really? You do that for me?" "Of course. We're friends, aren't we?" Wow, that was surprising. Turns out I'd massively underestimated my friend. I thought she would tease me if she knew the truth, but instead, she actually sympathized with me and tried to help me. At lunchtime, my friend Dee sat down next to me and asked why I looked so down. I wonder. I then glumly stared down at my yogurt, sighed, and told her how awful things were for me at the moment. She rubbed my arm and told me it would be okay. Then she lent me some money. Wow, it worked again! I did this a couple more times and voila! I had enough money to replace in my mom's box before she even noticed it was missing. Oh, that's so pretty. It would be just perfect for my upcoming model audition, but there's no way I can afford it. I glumly walked off, daydreaming about how amazing I'd look in that dress. "Hi, Shannon." I turned around and, oh, it was Brett, this dorky guy from school. He hurried over to me, nervously itched at his neck, and then spluttered out, "Hey, Shannon, are you shopping?" Ugh, this guy was so annoying, as if a pretty girl like me would be interested in a dorky guy like him. Hang on, was that a Louis Vuitton shopping bag in his hands? I must have been looking at it, as he lifted it up and, blushing, said, "Oh, it's a present for my mom's birthday." I stroked his arm, then gave him my best doe-eyed look. "Brett, you're such a good son. Your parents must be so proud of you. I wish I could get my mom something that meaningful too, but we're too poor." I sniffed. "I can't even afford this really pretty dress I need for my audition." Brett smiled sweetly at me and said, "That's okay. How about I get you the dress as a birthday gift? Your birthday's coming up anyway, right? Let's go." So that's how I ended up with the perfect dress. Oh, and I also ended up with a new boyfriend, Brett. At first, it was great being taken out to posh restaurants and bought lavish gifts for. But then the shine started to fade. I didn't like Brett in that way. In fact, I found him kinda annoying. He's not handsome at all, and he does the dumbest stuff. The other day in the lunch queue, he actually started showing me the terrible dance for his latest TikTok video, and it was so embarrassing. Whenever I had to hang around with Brett, I found myself daydreaming about someone else. This hot boy named Tyler. If only I wasn't stuck in this rut with Brett. But it was worth it for the money and stuff, right? Then one day at school, Rachel came over to me and asked me for her money back. I told her I was really sorry, but I didn't have any at the minute. Rachel sneered. "Really? Then how come you have all this new stuff?" "You know my family's poor. I hardly ever see my mom as she works so much. I don't have any money." "Fine, whatever." She stormed off. Rachel must have spoken to the others about this, as when I was with Brett next to the lockers, they came over to me and all started asking for their money back. I tried explaining to them that I didn't have any money, but one of them snorted. "Yeah, right. You've had us all fooled with your sob story. Watch out, Brett. She'll do the same to you too." Then they walked off. Brett was giving me this questioning look, so I tried to act like everything was fine and started sorting my books out. He didn't say anything after that, so I acted as nothing happened and held onto his arm as we walked to class. Then suddenly, he pushed my hand away. "Is it true? Are you only with me for my money?" "No! How can you say that? Stop being ridiculous." I tried to deny, but he wouldn't quit going on, which drove me mad. "You don't trust me? Fine! I don't think I want to be with someone who thinks that little of me anymore. Goodbye!" I then stormed off to the girls' restroom. Phew! I almost got exposed. But hey, at least I was now free of Brett, right? But what if Rachel and the others started making more of a fuss about the money? I didn't want them being mean to me about it. I needed to find a way to pay them all back, and fast. I approached Tyler after his basketball practice and asked him if he'd like to go for a drink. There, I put on the waterworks and told him all about my poor family and how I borrowed money from my friends to pay the bills, and now they're all mad at me. Tyler seemed genuinely concerned and instantly handed over some money. I hugged him and repeatedly thanked him. He smelled so good, but I felt kind of bad. This isn't like with Brett, since I really do like Tyler, and I feel guilty for taking his money. After that, I went and found Rachel and the others and paid them back. I thought my friends would be okay with me now, but turns out they weren't. Whenever I passed them at school, they sneered and gossiped about me. This sucked, but at least I had Tyler. We started hanging out all the time, and he was so sweet and funny. He also offered to lend me more money, but I refused as I didn't want to borrow any more than I needed to ever again. Then, that evening, I was scrolling through my social media account when I saw some posts about me. Oh no. They were saying how I took advantage of other people's sympathy to get money. I was freaking out. So I quickly replied to the thread saying it wasn't like that, and my life was hard. But then Rachel commented, "Here she goes, playing the victim again." The next day at school was awful. I felt like everyone was gawping at me. But as long as Tyler was by my side, it's all okay. I was chilling with him by the soccer field when Brett walked over, an angry look on his face. "You used me, didn't you? You never liked me at all. You just wanted my money." I stared at him open-mouthed, not knowing what to say. "That's real low, Shannon. Hey, Ty, if I was you, I'd stay away from her, unless you want to end up in debt." He walked off.
Is what he said true?
"No. Well, yes, but it was the past. It isn't like that with you, I promise." Tyler shook his head, then said,
I didn't think you were like that.
Then he grabbed his stuff and left. This was awful. Not only had I lost all my friends, but now I'd lost the boy I truly cared for too. After that, everyone ignored me at school. It felt horrible to know I was that unpopular, and I couldn't wait to finish school. When my graduation day finally arrived and I went up to get my certificate, suddenly, Rachel rushed up onto the stage and grabbed the mic. "Hey everyone, I think it's only fair that you all know the truth about Shannon. She uses her friend's sympathy to get money out of us. She even dated a guy just so she could make him buy her everything she wanted." Oh my God. All the teachers, students, and even my mom were staring at me. I felt like I was gonna faint from shame, so I frantically pushed past everyone and raced out of there. When I got home, I locked myself away in my room and cried into my pillow. I was never leaving my room again. The shame was too much. A little later, my mom knocked on my door. Then she came into my room and perched on the edge of my bed.
Honey, I'm just wondering why you did those things.
I told Mom everything about Florian tricking me, how I took money off my friends and used Brett. Then afterward, I took a box from under my bed, opened it, and told Mom it was for her. In it was a new safety outfit for her work, as well as some new casual clothes, too. "Your work outfit is already worn out, and I want you to have nice clothes. I know we aren't wealthy or anything, but you work so hard, and you deserve nice things."
Sweetie, thank you. But you don't have to buy me anything. I know it's been a struggle since your dad passed away.
But it's never okay to play the victim to take advantage of people like that. Then she hugged me. What's done is already done. Now the only thing you can do is apologize to them all, then start a new life. Become a better person. So that whole summer, I did just that. I apologized to all of my friends, every single one of them. Well, except Tyler, as he was away all summer. Then I went to college for a fresh start. I swear, I won't make the same mistakes again. I've learned my lesson on that one. Oh, I'm so nervous. Tyler is in the city this weekend and he's agreed to meet me. Oh my God. There he is. This is it. I finally have the chance to apologize to him. I hope he forgives me and sees how much I regret what I did. This time away from him made my feelings grow even stronger. Oh boy, I just miss him so much. He still looks at me with that soft smile and such sparkle in his eyes. I can't lose him this time. And I won't. Wish me luck.
Hey, what's with the long face? Oh, hey, it's nothing, just a bad day. You know you can tell me everything, right? I'm your best friend, so I know when something is up with you. Spit it out. Okay, you're right, as always. I think you should hang on to something, because this is shocking news. Oh my God, who is that? He looks so gorgeous. Sue, are you even listening? Huh? What did you just say? I turned to him, but he mumbled out typical, then walked away. Jeez, what's his problem? Oh, that was Lucas earlier, my best friend since kindergarten. Don't mind him, he's always like this. But whatever, let's get back to this handsome guy. So it turns out his name is Alex, and he's new here. I knew it, because such a pretty boy like him would never go unnoticed by me. The next morning, I couldn't wait to walk to school with Lucas. I had some amazing news to tell him. It happened to me the night before, during my shift at the diner. Lucas, you won't believe who was in the diner yesterday. Robert Downey Jr.? What? No, it was Alex, the new student. Gosh, Lucas, you've got to help me get his attention. You're on the baseball team together, right? Huh? Do you like that guy? Seriously? Duh. I mean, look at him. He's like Timothy Chalamet's twin brother. So will you help me? Please? Ugh, fine. I did hear him say he likes girls on roller skates. I have an idea. The next time he comes to the diner, serve him on skates. It's a sure way to impress him. Oh, yes, that's a great idea. I hugged Lucas to thank him. So the next time Alex came into the diner, I took out my roller skates and was ready to serve him his spaghetti. I'm kinda a novice on skates, so I slowly slid over to him. So far, so good, until I didn't see that somebody had spilled their milkshake all over the floor. And yes, of course, I slipped. Oh no! I quickly covered my head to avoid the spaghetti plate, but, The plate had fallen on the floor, but where was the spaghetti? I looked around. Oh, snap! I found it! It landed on Alex's head! It was so humiliating, but worse still, as hard as I tried, I couldn't get back on my feet. Ugh, stupid skates! I repeatedly apologized to him. At first, Alex looked totally shocked. Then, perhaps because of my pathetic look, he couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. Well, at least you dared to slide on them. I, on the other hand, am not a big fan of those. What? What did he mean by that? Ugh, Lucas! The next day, I went looking for Lucas to confront him. He was easy to find, as he was in his favorite place to browse in town, the sneaker store. Why did you tell me Alex likes roller skates? Because he definitely doesn't. Maybe I misheard him. Oh, wait, he likes girls in superhero costumes. That's right. What? That sounds ridiculous. Forget it, I'm not listening to you anymore. Go give your advice to some other poor girl, not me. What's up with Lucas? Why would he give me such bad advice? It's like he wanted me to fail. But why? Oh my goodness. Was he, maybe, into me? Nah, nonsense. Still, I had a feeling about it. So I decided to avoid Lucas as much as possible. I came up with loads of excuses not to hang out with him, such as mom was driving me to school and I was skipping lunch because I was on a diet. Ugh, it was so exhausting. I mean, have you ever tried sneakily eating your lunch in class so you don't pass out from hunger? However, this was necessary, as we both needed some space. It's the only way to keep our friendship safe. But then one day, Lucas messaged me. Can we talk after school? I have something important to tell you. Oh no. Was he going to confess his feelings? But if he did it, our friendship would be ruined. I couldn't let that happen, so I didn't meet him. Instead, I ran straight home. He called me a bunch of times, but I ignored them all. I ghosted him, to be exact. Jeez, I wasn't proud, but I had to save our friendship from stupid Cupid. But then the next time I saw him, he only gave me a hurt look, then purposely walked off in the other direction. Oh no. Now it was basically like a cold war between us. Ugh. We might not have been hanging out with each other, but I was still keeping an eye on Lucas. I'd been watching him for a couple of days, and it looked like he was having a tough time. He must have figured out my rejection, so now he was miserable. Oh, dear Lucas, I didn't want this to happen, but I can't risk losing our friendship. But then I noticed something. One time, the whole school went on a picnic trip. I watched Lucas from afar and noticed that he was giving dagger looks to a bunch of girls. Hang on. They were surrounding Alex. I even saw him trip another girl up who was going to join the group of girls adoring Alex, and then he made out it was an accident. Another time I overheard him telling girls from other classes who were standing by the class door trying to get a glimpse of Alex that he pretended to be all cold and quiet because he had hideous teeth. Which, of course, wasn't true, because he had a smile that could light up a room. Looks like it wasn't just me. Lucas didn't want any other girls going near Alex. Did he hate Alex that much? Or he likes Alex? For heaven's sake! Stop thinking such nonsense, Sue! Your head was messing with you. Then one day, my mom heard that Lucas's mom was sick, so she made some chicken soup and told me to bring it over to his mom. I didn't want to go around there. I mean, what if I saw Lucas? Awkward. But who was I to deny a sick lady's soup? When I arrived, I opened the door and let myself in as I usually do. And that's when I heard the conversation between Lucas and his mom. Lucas, you need to forget about Alex. I want to, but I can't, Mom. He's always on my mind. Anyway, the important thing is your health. You need to eat something. Look at you, you're not getting any better. How can I eat after your dad left us? It's like all this time I've been living in a lie. I'm so sorry. Wait a moment. My Sherlock Holmes intuition was kicking in. Now everything makes sense. Why Lucas was sad for a couple of days, why I hadn't seen his dad for a while, and why his mom was suddenly sick. It's because Lucas was gay. His father probably didn't take it so well, so he left, which was really devastating for Lucas's mom. But I'm his best friend. Why didn't he tell me? Man, he hid it really well. But not only that, he also tried to sabotage me when he knew I had a crush on Alex. Well, it turns out we weren't best friends like I thought. But no, I couldn't just ignore this. I needed to talk to Lucas to clear things up. The next day, Lucas had baseball practice, so I went to find him at the field, but he wasn't there. I asked some of his teammates, but nobody knew where he was. Where could he have gone? And that's when I saw Lucas with Alex behind the bleachers. Well, look at them. All lovey-dovey. They talked for a bit, then each of them walked away in a different direction. I watched them from a distance with my arms folded. That traitor! I was so ready to yell in Lucas's face. And that's when our eyes met. He was startled when he saw me, like he'd just been busted. Well, it was technically the correct word to describe the situation. Sue, what are you doing here? Why do you look so flustered? Come on, I know about your relationship between you and Alex, so you don't need to hide it anymore. How did you know about it? I heard you and your mom talking about it, but I don't understand. How could you do this to me? You knew that I liked Alex. I know, but I couldn't explain. I was so ashamed. You should have talked to me first, but instead you stole Alex from me. Best friends don't do that to each other. Hold on a minute. What did you just say? I stole Alex from you? What do you mean? Ugh, come on. Just stop with all this hiding and lying. I know you two are together. What? Why was he overreacting like this? Was what I just said not true? Well, turns out it wasn't. I was totally wrong. Just one thing was for sure. My detective intuition sucked. And that's when Lucas told me the truth. Lucas and Alex weren't in love. Lucas even hated Alex because he's Lucas's half-brother. Oh my. It's like I got lost in a telenovela or something. When my mom was pregnant with me, my dad got drunk and made a big mistake with a colleague of his. She fell pregnant with Alex, but my dad didn't know about it. Then, a month ago, Alex's mom was diagnosed with a serious illness. She didn't want him to end up alone if she couldn't make it. So she showed up in Dad's life again and messed everything up. Oh my God. So that's why Lucas's mom all of a sudden got so skinny and sick. And Lucas's dad didn't leave them. No, it's because his mom kicked his dad out of the house. I wanted to tell you in the canteen the other day, but you were too starry-eyed over Alex to listen. This made me mad, so I tried everything to prevent you from getting close to him. My family's broken because of him, so I don't want my best friend to fall for someone like that. Oh, it turns out I'm a really bad friend. My best friend had problems at home, and I didn't even know it. No, because I was busy daydreaming about a guy I barely knew. I apologized to Lucas and promised that I would pay more attention to him, and then we hugged. On the plus side, at least none of my crazy theories were true. So it turns out it was all just one big misunderstanding. The Cold War between us ended, and our friendship remains as amazing as ever. I also managed to convince Lucas and Alex to give each other a chance. After all, they're half-brothers, and what happened between their parents wasn't their fault. Besides, Alex's mom is seriously ill, so he needs Lucas more than ever. It's great hanging out with them both and seeing them laughing and joking about. Peace at last. The three of us have become pretty great friends. Oh, do you want to hear something funny? Lucas actually offered to matchmake me with Alex. But it's okay. I refused. Why, you ask? Well, the three of us are such awesome friends now, and I don't want anything to ruin that. Pretty mature of me, right?